Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am thankful to the Institute of Tax Professionals who invited me again on the tax policy of Pakistan. The tax policies that is prepared by Federal Board of Revenue. I will discuss all the aspects and give my suggestions how can improve the tax collection of Pakistan. And the scheme of my presentation will be the organizational structure, revenue trends versus tax policy, and national tax policy of the FBR, and issues and challenges which face the collecting authorities. Edmund Brooke in 1790, on the reflection and revolution of the France, said that the revenue of the state is the state. He said absolutely right. Without revenue, you cannot run the state. In fact, all depends upon it, whether for the support or the reformations. Though the revenue alone, body politics can act in its true, genuine and character, and therefore it will display just as much as its collective virtue as the possessed of just revenue. First of all, I will discuss the organizational structure of the Federal Board of Revenue. Federal Board of Revenue is headed by the chairman, and the member of the boards help to the chairman for running all the operations. First of all is the operational members. There are two operational members. One is for IR and second for the customs. Like that, there are two policy members. One policy members for IR and second one for the customs. And third one are the functional members. Who are the functional member? One is like member legal, accounting, customs, SA member audit, CRM, member accounting IR, and member digital initiatives. There are the support members who are member admin, HR, member PR, member IT, and member reforms and modernizations. There are 21 directorate journals in the Federal Board of Revenue, which relate 10 for IRS DGs and 11 for DGs custom. The law administered by Federal Board of Revenue. Federal Board of Revenue works under the FBR Act 2007, and following laws are administered by the Customs Act 1969, Income Tax Ordinance 2001, Sales Tax Act 1990, Federal Excise Act 2005, and for the services, Islamabad Capital Territory Tax on Services Ordinance 2001. Only in capital territories the services tax is collected by Federal Board of Revenue. Otherwise, in the remaining of Pakistan, the provinces collect their services tax. The potential of federal taxes, as I guess, and the source of FBR 2022 and 3 explain that there are a potential of 5,828 billion rupees in the sales tax, while the sales tax collected only 2,869, and there is a estimated gap of 2,959. You can see that the gap is more than the actual collection. I think the collection of sales tax should be greater, but now the income tax gap is less, and the collection and estimated gap collection is more than the gap, but in sales tax collection is less than the estimated gap, and there is a 1,645 billion rupees policy gap and 1,314 billion rupees compliance gap, and the compliance gap is 22.6%. Like that, in the income tax, one thing is better that in the total potential, the collection is 3,284 and the estimated gap is 1759, which is less than the collection. The policy gap is 539 and compliance gap is 1220. It means the total compliance gap is 24%, which is higher than the sales tax. That custom duties, FED, when we check the total, then total potential in 2022 and 3 was 13,087 billion rupees, but the total collection was 7,483 billion rupees, and the estimated gap was 5,604 rupees, and the policy gap was 2,847, and compliance is 2,757, which is almost 21% near to the sales tax. If I check the collection of federal taxes from 2021 to 2024, in 2021 you can observe that the direct taxes are low than the sales tax, as in 2021 sales tax collection is 1,988 while the direct tax is 1,731. But with the passage of time, the collection of direct tax increases while the sale tax is decreases. It means there is something wrong. The sale tax is ignored. Sale tax should not be ignored, because in potential we see that the sales tax have a more potential than the direct taxes, which we can observe from the previous 2 years. The sale tax is collected more than the income tax, but in 23 and 24 the value of direct taxes increases than the sales tax. So one thing that I recommend that the compliance and policy gap of sales tax should also be reduced, and I will give the suggestion on sales tax in the next lecture. Now I will discuss the direct taxes only. The total collection is 9,311 billion, as we say, it is the more than the targeted collection. Increase in revenue by 31% in the financial year 2024. In graphic representation, we will check that in 2019 and 2020, when the era of COVID, in the COVID it is collected amount 3.8 trillion and 4.0 trillion, while in the tax year 2024 total collection is 9.4 trillion. Challenges relevant to the tax policy. These are the challenges which I will discuss the challenges, and I will give the suggestions how we can overcome these challenges. First one is compliance gap. Why compliance gap? Is the undocumented economy. Undocumented economy is a disease for the tax collection, because you can not measure where is the high earner and where is the low earner. If you as per tax theory, we will collect, and progressive taxes you will collect from the high earner and collect low from the low earner. But if you cannot assess who is earning more and who is earning less, how you can take proper taxes from this? The undocumented economy is a disease for taxation, and the tax leakage and narrow tax base. Tax base is very narrow in Pakistan. Therefore, all the laws are applied on that persons who are in the system, who registered with the sales tax and registered with the income tax department, and all the laws are applied on those peoples. But the peoples who are not registered and enjoying the tax havens, you can say that they are enjoying a tax haven because they are not registered and not paying a tax. Then the resource constraint for the tax authority, it is also a challenge, because If we compare with the developed countries or other countries, one tax man for the how many peoples are in Pakistan and one tax man for how many taxpayers in other countries, you can feel the huge difference between Pakistan and developed country. So the resources should be provided, manpower should be provided, and the manpower of literate and competent manpower and other resources should be provided to overcome these challenges. Challenges in data accuracy, it is also a very big problem that data is not correct most of the time, because I am a research student and I do a research on different topics relating to taxation. Whenever I found a data from secondary data in Pakistan, there are a lot of mistakes in the data, and during my analysis of the data, I feels that some entries are very irrelevant. I should recruit or rectify that mistakes. But whenever I research on the foreign data or from data from the developed country, the data is very smooth and there is no mistakes in that data. It is the problem that there is a data is not accurate. And coherent tax policies, there is a short of long-term policies. Most of our policies are very short term, and sometimes if the policies are running long terms, but the next management or policy makers or government change the policy or the previous government. If the India run the policies of Manmohan Singh, even Modi selected third time Prime Minister of India, but he take the policies of Manmohan Singh that were very good policies, and it gave the success to Mr. Modi. The third one is policy gap and political gap, which is tax certain sectors like retail sector and real estate sector. As I discuss political instability and the policy gap, which cannot chase the higher earner like the retail sector. Retail sector is not documented and they are enjoying tax holidays, and the real estate sector is there are a very high earner which earns a lot of money but did not pay the taxes because this sector is not documented. So it is necessary that sector should be documented. And the constitutional arrangement, sometimes there is a lot of problems, there are a lot of cases in the courts, and billions of rupees are stuck in the court cases. There is a constitutional problems and the problem in law that is not clear regarding the taxation. That should be clear. Recent policy initiatives, the documentation drive. First thing that the undocumented economy is a disease, that the to enactment of the law for documentation is very necessary. Digitalization of the supply chain, that is track and trace, POS, digital invoicing and swap, etc., is the good initiative of the government for the documentation of the economy. If these programs are applied fully, then most of the economy will be documented, inshallah. Integration of third party data and use of technology for broadening of tax base. The integration of if there is a lack of data and accuracy of the data, as I discussed earlier, if the data is available from third party like Nadra has a lot of data relating to taxpayers, persons, rich persons, and like FIA have a data of foreign traveler, and excise and taxation have a data like that. All the other organizations, third parties which have data, if they share with the FBR, then FBR can take action or enforce the returns and take taxes from that person who are a high earner, but due to undocumented economy they are away from the tax paying. Horizontal and vertical equity, to remove the tax distortion, as there is a lot of tax distortion due to the horizontal and vertical equity, because if you observe that one person who is registered with the FBR in sales tax, he is paying a lot of taxes, and the same in the same vicinity, in the same area, one person is sitting with him and his sale or revenue is greater than the registered person, but he is not paying a taxes. Then like that, in one sector to other sector, if we compare the one sector to other sector, then we found that one is paying a lot of tax and other one is not even given a penny of tax. Government to government support to reduce the misinvoicing is that, like PRA and PRA Sindh Revenue Authority and other two authorities and the Federal Board of Revenue have required the support each other for the misinvoicing. What are the policy shortfall in the income tax? In the policy shortfall in the income tax is the exemption in the part 7 of the chapter 3 involves 34 billion rupees, and allowances involves 19 billion rupees, tax credit involves 66 billion rupees, and exemption from the total income 294 billion rupees, and reduction in tax rate 30 billion rupees, reduction in tax liability 7 billion rupees, and exemption from the specific provision is 88 billion rupees. The total of the 539 billion rupees are a shortfall due to the policy of the income tax. In current scenario, no national tax policy exists. Most of the long-term and policies not exist. Only the TOR framed for engaging the consultants, like the tax to GDP ratio 10.4%, 23-24, which is very low. Pakistan is ranked as 174th globally. Mean, as per the World Bank record, Pakistan's tax compliance and tax paying country is 174th number. I think it will be a last or a few upper on the last. And income tax revenue Pak rupees 4.53 trillion in 2023-24. No work on the simplification of law, one code for all. This is also a great problem, that law is not a simple. The persons are a taxpayer who did not know the complex law, and he go to his intermediary or the persons who explain it, not exact explain, or he may trap it that it is a very difficult thing and it is not good for you, etc. If law is simple, then the registered person or a taxpayer can register himself in the law and etc. In income tax policy issues, low tax base. As I discussed earlier, only 4.821 million people file the tax return, out of which 1.8 million file the nil return. Out of total taxpayer are the population of 235 million population. And the narrow tax net, as I already discussed, that if the circle is very narrow for the tax base, if the tax base expand, then tax rate may be reduced, but the most of the people will come in the circle and they will pay the taxes. High tax evasion, estimated 70% of the economy is informal. That is very unfortunate that the 30% people bear the burden of 100% people. As if we at least take the half of the undocumented economy, like 70%, if take the 35% economy in this circle, then our revenue can be doubled. And the complex tax laws, frequent changes in the ambiguities, like I already discussed, that the complex tax law create a problems. Law should be simple and understandable by the ordinary peoples. Capacity of tax administration, limitation of resources is also a reason that capacity should be increased, and resources should be provided to the taxman so that he can enforce the taxes to and document the economy and give the awareness to the peoples. And lack of documentation and limited record keeping, again documentation, lack of documentation is a disease and it should be encouraged. Income tax policy challenges, one of the challenge is the broadening of tax base, expanding tax net to the informal sector. The 70% informal sector should be taken in the formal sector, and if we cannot suddenly take total 70%, at least 35% should be taken to double your tax revenue. Improving the tax compliance by enhancing voluntary compliance, and enhancing tax administration by modernizing tax infrastructure, giving them facilities, employing talented and technical people, sound people, right people for right job, then it can be modernized. Simplifying tax law, reducing the complexity and ambiguities, encouraging the documentation, improving the record keeping and tracking. Initiatives related to income tax policies, the income tax policies initiatives are started from 2024 when the Tax Reforms Commission 2024 recommendations for the tax reforms were established, and then the tax amnesty scheme encouraging the voluntarily disclosures for the taxpayer, and automated tax collection system improving the efficiency, and the online facility for tax filing enhancing the convenience. Before this initiative, the taxpayer has to prepare his tax return, then he go to the bank for payment of taxes, and he have to stand in a line for hours, then he paid the taxes. After paying taxes, he goes to the FBR office and he for the deposit of submit of the return, and he also again stand in the line for an hours, then he submit his return. But now after online filing of the return, it is so facility that even you sit in your bedroom and may file your return and payment through online banking and submit your return. That is very initiative. Taxpayer outreach programs, education of the taxpayer. That is very interesting for me because I am doing a CSR, corporate social responsibility, for the education of the taxpayers relating to tax matters. Because I studies taxes, I do my PhD in tax avoidance, and I am always remain in tax laws and teaching of taxation. Therefore, I decided I give the awareness to all over the Pakistan related to tax matters. It is my determination that I will educate every people of Pakistan through social media, through my different seminars which I go in different universities, different organizations. Like I go to the customs department for teaching of sales tax. I teach the Inland Revenue Academy sales tax to the officers of FBR, and in different university to the students and different organizations through the seminars to give the awareness relating to tax laws and tax matters. Income tax policy goals, which are the goals? One of them is the implementing progressive taxation, mean higher rate of tax for the high income earner, and increase tax rates, gradually increase in tax rate, not a sudden increase. It should be gradually that people did not feel a burden. Expand tax net includes the informal sector and the small businesses, which are almost 70% in the tax net. Improve tax audit, enhance audit capacity and effectiveness through a competent officials and which are qualified and have a knowledge of audit, etc. Enhance the public awareness education taxpayer on the obligation. This work is doing on behalf of the FBR. I am doing my personally to give awareness on my own resources. Income tax policy international best practices. The tax policy framework clears the policy guidelines, tax administration reforms, and modernization of tax infrastructure, which is very necessary. Taxpayer education. I am also trying my best to educate the taxpayer, and public awareness campaign. I am also the part of that. And international cooperation and collaboration of tax evasion, to take a treaties with different countries to give information of Pakistani settled in different countries and what they are showing their wealth there, and they give them the information like Turkey and etc. provide us the information of Pakistani settled there, and we provide the information relating to Turkish settled in Pakistan. So the efficient, equitable and transparent taxation, inshallah. Principles of the effective tax policies. These are the principles of effective tax policies that the literature all over the world show. It is clear if you check the international practices and check the literature of the international literature, you will see that simplicity and transparency is necessary in taxation. Progressivity and fairness is very necessary in taxation. Broadening tax base and lower tax rate is also very necessary. Low compliance costs, as sometimes the taxpayer has a lot of compliance cost. Compliance cost should be reduced, and when he have to, sometimes the taxpayer pay to his agent more money than the actual taxes. Effective tax administration is very necessary for the collection of taxes. International cooperation is very necessary, and taxpayers education and awareness. My goodness, which is I am doing the FBR's a policy also the part of that. Independent dispute resolutions, regular review and evaluation is very necessary. When you did not find the feedback of anything, then you cannot make a good policy. And digitalization and technology, in this era, as technology do as much as the hundreds of people cannot do, therefore it is very necessary. And the simple and transparent tax laws, it is very necessary that clear, concise and accessible laws, simple tax structure with the minimum exemptions, regular review and update of tax laws is necessary. Sweden's tax agency clear guidance. Progressive taxation. What is the progressive taxation? Progressive taxation is the higher tax rate for the higher income earning and reduce income inequalities, encourage economic growth. Example, Denmark's tax system has a multiple tax brackets. Therefore, it is an international practice. We should follow it. Effective tax administration, independent tax authority. The tax authorities should be independent, nor the political involvement in the tax authority, nor the political pressure should be on the tax authority. Tax authorities should be independent to generate revenue. Adequate resources and trainings, regular audit and enforcement is very necessary. Example of Singapore Inland Revenue Authority. And the income tax policy conclusion, key points: low tax to GDP ratio, very nice. Narrow tax net, high tax evasion, complex tax laws and ineffective tax administrations, call to action, reforms and strengthen the income tax policy for the prosperous Pakistan. Thank you very much. If you want to learn taxation and wants that other people learn regarding taxation, then like, share, subscribe our channel and comment in the comments box if you have any query. Thank you very much.